Made in China. China has now applied tariffs to the US. Trump has said that is a big mistake. And now Trump has threatened to increase tariffs on China by 50%. So made in China is going to be less made in China, and it's going to be made in Vietnam. Correct. What China is doing, which they're not stupid, the Chinese are not stupid. They are mastered at skullduggery. They are masters at manipulation. What are they going to do? They're going to move the goods from China to Vietnam. They're going to get production in Vietnam. It'll have made in Vietnam. So you're going to see less made in China, more made in Vietnam, while this trade war continues. However, if you go to the States, everything is made in China. If you go to China, nothing is made in America. So China needs the US. The US is a huge market, and China cannot afford to mishandle this particular trade war. Now, this trade war is not really going to take place. It's much of a ploy, as we've seen in Europe, with the Europeans quickly scurrying to do a deal and agreeing in principle either zero tariffs or 2.5% tariffs on US-made cars and other industrial production. They're already looking to call Trump and say, let's get a deal, Donald. Now, Donald, Mr. Trump, the president, is now pressurizing Wall Street, because Wall Street was sold off yesterday. China went down 10%. However, the reason why they're doing that, because Wall Street is in bed with the Fed. With Jerome Powell. As Wall Street falls, Jerome Powell and the Fed will be forced to reduce interest rates, increase liquidity in order to lift up the US markets. But China also fell yesterday over 10%. And as a result of that, the Chinese themselves are panicking. As much as there's a lot of bravado out there, at the end of the day, everyone needs the US, and China will come to some sort of deal to save face with the US. That is going to happen. Meanwhile, when you go back to Wall Street and you go back to bonds and yields, markets dropped. I did say there's going to be a bounce. If you listen to the media, social media, I did say there's going to be a bounce, and we may have seen short term the bottom. However, markets could test the bottom further if the trade war between the US and China intensifies. And that is the arena to keep an eye on. We'll be running a webinar on the 4th of May. We'll be discussing all this in Trump versus Wall Street. If you want to join the webinar, then comment webinar.